Well, what can I say, guys? Former President Donald Trump has done it again. He held a town hall with Fox News, and the people just couldn't get enough of it, especially since it was supposed to be a debate, but Vice President Kamala Harris declined the invite.
Let me just tell the audience so everybody's fully aware is that tonight Fox offered a debate opportunity between you and Kamala Harris, and I was not going to be here, but it was going to be Brett and Martha.
This was supposed to be a debate.
Right. So
I would have preferred. I think he's a nice guy, but I would have preferred a debate.
Thanks a lot.
Just goes to show the difference between the two parties and their respective campaigns, right? I mean, the DNC, well, it tanked. Meanwhile, the RNC was just so classy and had zero protesting or chaos. People are just saying vote red to get ahead. And since Kamala Harris declined the debate invite, I guess this is former President Donald Trump winning by default. Y'all let me know what you think on that one. I mean, you can't win if you don't show up, right? Seems like a good omen for November if you ask me. But like I said, guys, vote for policies, not for liberal bias or propaganda from the mainstream media. You know what I mean? For instance, here's Trump talking about immigration during the Biden-Harris administration.
They want open borders. She wants open borders. Now she's all of a sudden saying, oh, I think we'll close the borders. She was the border czar, whether you like it or not. But even if you don't want to use that term, she was in charge of the border.
And let's not forget, for a time, many people were calling Kamala Harris the border czar. But yeah, guys, this is the sort of thing that's got a lot of Americans waking up to the truth about Kamala Harris and her 11th hour campaign. In fact, even CNN had to admit how Vice President Kamala Harris needed to make up a lot of ground with voters in their own poll. Hear it straight from their own political director, David Challen.
Look at the white voters without college degrees. This is a Trump-based constituency, obviously. You see his huge numbers with this group. You see that this is a trouble sign for Harris. She also, in a place like Georgia, is not doing well with white college-educated voters. She probably wants to make up some ground with white college-educated voters across these battlegrounds as well, Kate.
An important gut check for both campaigns and on multiple levels in multiple states is what's coming out here.
CNN political director David Challen spoke about the racial divide between the two presidential candidates as non-college educated white voters overwhelmingly support former President Trump. So Trump does great with these white voters without college degrees. Oh, and also with degrees. So what exactly was this political reporter trying to say here? Maybe the real headline here should be Harris is truly unlikable for many Americans. And wait till we get to that ABC debate in a couple days. Trump's already predicting that the left-leaning news network is going to give the Democratic candidate the questions ahead of time.
Days ahead of the first debate between the major party candidates, Mr. Trump spoke confidently.
I think you might give her the questions and give her the answers with the questions. I'm not sure it's going to help her.
I mean, you know you're in trouble when your candidate is given the questions ahead of time and you're still lagging behind your opponent and even your predecessor. What am I talking about? Well, another part of the CNN breakdown of their own polling showed how black voters overwhelmingly support Harris. As their political director Challen mentioned, in 3 of the states, Michigan, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, 86% of black voters in Michigan are with Harris, 11% are with Trump, 85% in Georgia, 84% of black voters support with Pennsylvania. But see, in Pennsylvania in 2020, Joe Biden, according to exit polls, his number among black voters was 92%. So as Challen put it, there's still room for Harris to grow and consolidate the black vote, which is definitely going to be necessary if she's going to win in places like Georgia and Pennsylvania, which are clearly in play here as toss-up races. So I guess the CNN host was just shocked by the news. They just commented after the polls breakdown that it was an important gut check for both campaigns on multiple levels in multiple states is what's coming out there. But honestly, for me, this seems like more of a punch to the gut for the Harris campaign than even CNN can't even deny it anymore. The Trump advantage is real, and we're seeing it right here in front of us, guys. And we're just getting started on this Trump takedown of Biden and Harris in this Fox Town Hall event, guys. So make sure you guys stay tuned in. Also hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys want more content like this. You guys are absolutely the best. So for me, the most interesting part personally from the Trump Town Hall was how our former president warned that we're headed into World War III territory. He talked about the power of weapons, nuclear weapons in particular, but other weapons also, as he said that he knows the weapons better than anybody because he's the one that bought them. He promised that we won't have World War III when he's elected. But with these clowns that you have in there right now, referring to Biden and Harris, you're going to end up having World War III, and it's going to be a war like no other. Case in point, war broke out in the Ukraine in 2022 when Russia invaded the nation. Another war broke out in the Middle East late October when Hamas terrorists launched attacks on Israel. Trump argued that if he were in the Oval Office over the last 3.5 years, wars would not have sparked out in Israel or Ukraine. He said that October 7th, when Israel-Hamas war started, it would have never happened if he were the president. This was just one of the policy questions Trump fielded with Fox News' Sean Hannity in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, just days ahead of his first debate against Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's not forget, though, Trump won the state in 2016 when he earned 44,292 more votes than the Democratic nominee, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The state then elected President Joe Biden in his matchup against Trump in 2020 at a 1.17% margin. Needless to say, guys, both parties want to win the Keystone State. Both Harris and Donald Trump repeatedly visited Pennsylvania in recent weeks. Harris was most recently joined by Biden in the president's first campaign event for the Harris Waltz ticket since he bowed out of the race in July. And in just a few short days, Trump and Harris will take the stage in Pennsylvania for their first and perhaps only debate, which is going to be held in Philadelphia. I think it's really odd that the Donald Trump assassination attempt was taking place in Pennsylvania, the very state that is so key to both presidential hopefuls. Again, I don't believe in coincidences. Me personally, I think they wanted to, number one, take Donald Trump out of the race altogether, but at a minimum, the attempt should have scared him away from the state, and it didn't work. Another issue Donald Trump brought up in his Pennsylvania town hall pre-debate was the spiraling illegal immigration that has plagued the United States since 2021. Former President Trump said that they want open borders. She wants open borders. He didn't miss calling out Harris for her flip-flop on the border. He said that the vice president is all of a sudden, oh, I think we're closing the borders. She was the border czar, whether you like it or not. But even if you don't want to use that term, she was in charge of the border. As a result, Donald Trump said it's the worst border in the history of the world, not just here. There's never been a country that allowed 21 million people to come in over a 3-year period. There's never been. He also mentioned that out of the 21 million people, many are from prisons, many of whom are murderers and drug dealers and child traffickers. I would say that this is pretty relevant considering immigration is the second most important issue to voters behind the economy heading into the 2024 election, according to recent Fox News polling. Now, as for our economy, Trump predicted that the United States will fall into an economic depression if Harris wins the general election on November 5th. I read a book a long time ago, and it basically said something that was really powerful and profound to me, and it said something along the lines of, look at your 5 closest friends, and typically your income is an average of your 5 closest friends. Now, with that being said, I was kind of like thinking, okay, well, how do I find people who made way more than me so I could increase my chances of having a higher income? I mean, it only made sense, right? For less than a cup of coffee a day, for less than $1 a day, join a powerful network of people who are ready to change their lives for the better. And I will be putting a limit on this group, so get in while you can. Be positively motivated by others who are also on the same pursuit. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can join me over on the Life Pursuit Network in the description down below this video. So check it out, guys, and let's not be a victim of this great wealth transfer that is taking place right now. He said it'll be like 1929. This will be a 1929 depression. According to Trump, Harris has no idea what the hell she's doing. He compared that to how he gave Americans the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. These Trump tax cuts are also about to expire, and Kamala Harris wants to terminate them. According to the former president, if you do that, you will suffer the biggest tax increase in history. There's never been a tax increase like it, on top of which she wants to add a lot of tax. Trump cited Harris's proposal on capital tax gains and her plan to install price controls on companies to combat price gouging as evidence that the United States would just hit more financial woes similar to the Great Depression if Harris is elected to the Oval Office. She even wants to tax unrealized gains. He talked about Kamala Harris's father, who he called a Marxist teacher of economics, hence a 1929 style depression. That's what Donald Trump thinks will happen to our country already, as the Biden-Harris administration has set us on a path. On foreign policy, Trump declared that he was the toughest on Russia when he served as president, while again arguing wars in foreign nations questions would not have sparked out if he was in the Oval Office. He pointed out that Putin would never even say Trump was killing them with his opposition to the Nord Stream pipeline. This was the biggest job that they've ever had, and Donald Trump said that he stopped it. And so this is why our former commander-in-chief says that the whole world was a safer place when he was in office. He brought up how Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban said we should bring Trump back. Everybody. That everybody is afraid of Trump. That if we bring him back, we're not going to have any problems. It's all going to go away. Now, in connection with that, Donald Trump vowed to heal our world if he's reelected. This was after Fox's Hannity cited the mass shooting in Georgia that left 4 people dead and Donald Trump's heightened security following the assassination attempt on his own life in July. At least 4 people were killed Wednesday at Appalachian High School when 14-year-old suspect Colt Gray allegedly opened fire around the 10 a.m. hour. Officials said the 4 victims killed were 2 students and 2 teachers. An additional 9 others were injured in the shooting. Our former president mentioned how it's a sick and angry world for a lot of reasons, and he's going to make it better. He said he's going to get rid of all of these wars that are starting all over the place because of incompetence. With the election just a few short months away, former President Donald Trump sounded confident that they're going to be very well set up to do a great job. Now, we got to do our part and stay updated on this election, guys. As I've said time and time again, this may very well be the most important election of our lives. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, keep that notification bell turned on. That way you can get our updates delivered directly to your device. Now, speaking of, guys, I have another video recommendation for you. It's the one where RFK Jr.'s campaign made history by endorsing Donald Trump. Honestly, guys, you gotta check that one out for yourself. So make sure you guys check that one out right after this one. Just click on my channel, click on videos. You should see it right there. And guys, don't be a stranger, right? Drop a comment down below. Let us know what you guys think about this Trump news and things that Donald Trump said in Fox News town hall and what you think Kamala Harris is doing in her campaign so far. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for sharing and subscribing. I'll see you on the next one.